Let's look at the teacher's customization page once more, because there is a lot to see here and it can be slightly overwhelming. So we have already seen that you can enable or disable adventures. But what you can also do is, if you select a level and you have enabled or disabled a number of adventures, is that you can decide when to open this level. You could say, I want to open it straight away, but you can also open it maybe in 1 week. And then if you want to, you can plan ahead your entire lesson series so that you don't have to think about it while the course is run. What you can also do is here in these other settings is further customize what the UI looks like for your students. For example, you can hide the puzzle and the quiz. So if I click this, the puzzle and the quiz will no longer be visible. If I click save here, now I will go to one of the students in this class so you can see what it looks like. This is a student in my class, student 4, and initially puzzle and quiz were still there. But now I have saved, and if I reload the page, you see that the puzzle and the quiz are gone. As a teacher, you can control when you want to open the quiz. Maybe you only want to do this after an hour of practice, for example. And there are other things in the UI that we can also customize. This thing, for example, the cheat sheet, is also something I can disable from the teacher's interface. For example, if I don't want students to cheat, maybe I'm doing a Hedy exam, or I want to make sure that they actually memorize the code. So if I go back to my teacher's interface, I can say cheat sheet, I don't think so, and save, and then whenever the student will reload, then the cheat sheet will be gone. One other thing you can customize is the keyword switcher, but this is only relevant if you are consuming Hedy in a non-English language. But I'm going to show it to you anyway. If you aren't teaching in non-English, then this for you isn't so relevant. So let's first go back to the student interface. So a student sees this. If I reload, the cheat sheet is gone. But if I set my account to a different language, for example, let's pick Dutch, because that's my native language, that's the easiest. If I update my profile now, you've seen this in previous videos, then everything will be in Dutch, right? All the explanations will be in Dutch. The commands now, though, will by default be in English and not in Dutch. But if I am in a non-English language, I've gotten this language switcher right here. So we give students the power to choose, regardless of what they set in their profile, to still see the commands either in English or in Dutch. So you see this one here updates, all the example codes update if I set it to Dutch and then if I set it back to English. Of course, again, as a teacher, maybe you don't want this. Maybe you want students to set this in their profile, or maybe you want students to not be able to set this at all. So again, this is something I can control. As a teacher, I can say the keyword switcher, I do not want to see it, and then students will not see it. Finally, one more thing that you can set is a mandatory developers mode. So the developers mode is a view in which all the tabs are gone that students can also use. Let's first show what it looks like. So as a student, I always have this thing here, the developers mode, now shown in Dutch, of course. And if I enable it, I will have more room to program. This can be useful for students if they want to make longer programs or bigger drawings. But as a teacher, you also have the power to force the programmers mode on students so that all the tabs aren't visible and that only the programming interface is there. Again, this might be useful to you in an exam-like setting. Let's go back to the teacher's customization page. I click mandatory developers mode, and now if I hit save, I go back to the students view and I refresh, and everything is by default in the developers mode. So with all of these features, I know there are many, but what we're trying to do is give you as a teacher the power to fully control how students in your classroom view and use Hedy.